Namaskar everyone. Earlier I had made a video on how to make the heart square. A few of you had requested me to make a tutorial for the jacket which Alia Bhatt had worn as her airport look. It was a difficult challenge but I enjoyed it. So here is the jacket ready and this is how it looks. I have tried to add every small little tip or technique that I use to make this. So my aim is that you are able to make this jacket without any trouble. And that is why this video is kind of long. I'm sorry about that. I feel it's better that I answer all the things that could be possible questions right here in the video instead of waiting for them to come up in the comments. So how many squares do we need of each color? Red squares with yellow hearts 6, yellow squares with red heart 8 squares, orange squares with beige heart are 8 squares, green squares with navy blue hearts are 8 squares, blue squares with white heart 2, white squares with blue hearts are 4, and finally navy blue squares with green hearts 6 squares. Once we finish making our squares, we have to weave in our ends. Like for this square, we have 2 ends for yellow and 2 for the red. If you know how to weave it, then you do it yourself. Otherwise, at the end of the video, I am showing how I weave these ends in. The video of the heart square that I had made, in that I had told you that using a 3.5 mm crochet hook, we get a square which is equal to 4.25 inches. This square was made for a medium sized jacket. For different jacket size, we might need squares with different dimensions. Here I've made a table which tells you that for extra small size, the square should be 4 inches. For small and medium size, the square should be 4.25 inch. For large, 4.75 inches. And for XL, you use 4.25 inch squares, the same as the medium size, but we are going to use extra squares. To get your squares to the appropriate size, make a sample square. If you are not getting the right size and you're getting a bigger square, then use a smaller crochet hook to get a smaller size. Or if you are getting a smaller square, then use the next higher crochet hook to get the bigger square. So this way you would have to adjust to find out which hook would get you the appropriate size of the square that you need for your jacket size. So once you have found your appropriate crochet hook that was required for your size, then make all the squares. So all my squares are ready, and now the biggest task is to join them together and to get moving into making them into a beautiful jacket. This is a sleeve that I have joined as a sample trial to see how to join the sleeve. And at this stage, I would like to tell you that the jacket worn by Alia Bhatt had an extra patch on the shoulder right here and tiny triangles as well. I'm not going to be using that method because especially most of you are at beginning level and it will be difficult for you. And even more so because it will be very difficult for me to explain it for various sizes. So it's going to be a big challenge to do that for me. When I accepted this challenge initially, I did not realize that I'll end up having to give instructions for different sizes as well, because when I look at something, I'm just thinking how to make it for myself, and it's only during the course of making it that I realized that I need to give other size information as well, and it will be very difficult for me to give those instructions for those shoulder pads and triangles for various sizes, because I'm essentially not a designer. I just like crocheting and I am able to copy it easily. So this is going to be like most of the video tutorials that you find online, which are mostly squares joined together in a rectangular fashion, and that is what I'm going to follow here. So this will be the layout of the jacket. There are few extra patches around the neck. I will be telling you about these next. But if you find this more difficult, then there is a simpler way as well. For that, you will have to make these 2 extra squares, and then your neck will be in a rectangular boat shape. So now we will make the shoulder pieces. These are special rectangles, though we are not doing anything fancy. Once again, we will start with chainless foundation of 23 HDC stitches. We are trying to make rectangles like this, and if you observe this side, the width is a bit less than from the other side. So this much width is less. We start with this chainless foundation of 23 stitches. Turn and chain one, but what we are going to do next is in the first 3 stitches, instead of half double crochet, we'll make single crochets. 1, 2 and 3. And now all the other stitches will be half double crochet till the end of the row. Now here you can see I have made the entire row, and now these 2 rows we are going to repeat. So that means the next entire row will be of half double crochets till the end, and then we'll turn around and the first 3 stitches will be single crochet, and then we will make half double crochets all the way till the end of the row. And like this we have to make a total of 10 rows. And after 10 rows, then this is how the patch will look. It will be a little narrow from here, and from this side it will be a bit wide. As on this side all the rows are ending with half double crochets, though on this side we have alternating rows of single crochet rows as well. This is why we end up with a slightly lesser width. So such similar pieces we need 2 of the navy blue and 2 pieces of orange. So you can go ahead and make them. Now we will need 2 more special pieces for the back, and these are again 23 stitches wide and 10 rows in height. And these are just made in half double crochet stitches, just like our heart squares. It's just that we are not making any hearts in it. It's just a plain rectangle with just half double crochet stitches all along. These patches will be of 23 length and 10 rows in height. So we need 1 in white and 1 in the orange color. Next we have to make 2 pieces for the neck. This orange piece I have already made, and I'm going to teach you how to make the white piece just like this. So we start similarly with 23 stitches of chainless foundation in HDC. Here I have made 23 stitches of half double crochet chainless foundation, and then I took a turn, continued making the stitches and stopped just before the last 5 stitches. Because I'm trying to make a mirror image of this will be for the left side and this one would be for the right side. So we stop before the last 5 stitches and turn around. And in this first stitch we will not do anything, and in the second stitch we will do a slip stitch. To do a slip stitch, put the hook in and pull a loop, and then pull this loop through the first loop, and so we got our first slip stitch. In the next stitch make another slip stitch. Now make half double crochets till the end of the row. So if you want to count, we have made 15 half double crochets, and in the end we have 2 slip stitches. We didn't do anything in the first stitch, we started with a slip stitch in the second stitch. So to double check, just count your half double crochets. There should be 15 half double crochets in this row. Now we will chain 1 and turn and make 15 half double crochets. Now like last time we will turn and we won't make a chain 1, and after leaving the first stitch we'll make a slip stitch in the second stitch, and then another slip stitch in the next stitch. This is exactly the same how we had done before here, and in the next 12 stitches we are going to make half double crochet. Now our row has ended. We will turn, chain 1 and we will make 11 half double crochets. Here we have finished our 11 half double crochets. Turn the work around, do not make a chain 1, and we'll make a slip stitch, but this time only 1 slip stitch, not 2 like we had been making before. So nothing in the first stitch. In the second stitch, a slip stitch. Make half double crochets in the rest of the 9 stitches. In the next row, do a chain 1 and make 9 half double crochets. We have made our 9 half double crochets. We'll turn around. We won't chain 1 and we won't make any stitch in the first stitch. In the second stitch, we will make a slip stitch. Make half double crochets in the rest of the 7 stitches. We have made the 7 half double crochets. Now we are going to turn, chain 1 and make 7 half double crochets. At this stage we have reached somewhere here. See, this is how its mirror image is being made in the white. So we have made the 7 half double crochets. We will turn our work, but we won't make the first chain. Leaving the first stitch, we'll make a slip stitch in the next stitch. We'll make half double crochets in the 5 stitches next. With this, our white collar area has been finished. Now let's look at them. If we put them one over the other, so we have both of these identical pieces. The only difference is that they have to be laid out in this fashion. So just the way we made the white, similarly make another patch with the orange color. This is the main layout for all sizes except the extra large size. Those who want to make it in extra large size, my suggestion is that you would have to make an extra row in your sleeve. So like we are using 3 here for the sleeve, we would need an extra row. So I'm going to put these patches. So like this, we would need 4 squares. And then we would have an alignment issue. So we are going to move it slightly so that they are in the center of the shoulders. And then when these sleeves will be attached, they are going to be attached at the half portion of the square. But it is alright, but it will give you a comfortable sleeve. So you use 4 squares, and the length you can take as much as you want. You want to take 3 or 4, you can see according to your own requirements. In the main body also, you would be needing an extra row as well as an extra column. Like right now we have 4 squares in the front and 4 in the back. So you would need 6 squares in the front and 6 squares in the back. By keeping this extra row, we'll get 3 each for the front panels. And this shoulder patch, you would have to move it to the outside. And for this place, make a normal rectangle. So this will be your left panel of the front, and similarly you can make the right panel as well. At the bottom also you will have to give another row, otherwise it will become quite like a crop top. These adjustments are needed for extra large size. So extra rows in the sleeves as well as extra rows in the body. In the back also, instead of 4 squares, you would need 6 squares. Those who are making it in large size can keep the same layout like the normal layout. So just like this with 4 rows of hearts. It's just that they will have to make it with a bigger size hook, and therefore their squares will turn up to be bigger in size. And small size people can use the same as the medium size, it would fit them as well. And those who are extra small size, they would need to make one hook size lower than the normal. I have already told you what sizes these squares should turn out to be. Make sure that those sizes match with the table that I have told before. And then you can keep the same layout. The layout would only change if somebody is making an extra large size. If you are going to keep a simple neck, then at this place we would need 1 square and another square here in the right side. And then your neck would be made in this shape. Here is the front of the jacket, and here we'll make a strip of border. So now we are going to join the sleeves. We'll take the sleeve pieces on the side. Now we're going to attach the sleeves, and I'm going to teach you how we are going to attach these squares together. And this same method would be used for the main body as well. So first we'll join these squares vertically and then horizontally. So in this direction first, and then in this direction. So these two are the first squares that I'm going to join. I'm going to take them on the side. First you can tuck the squares a bit so that they are a bit even. I'm not blocking them, so this is my shortcut. This will help them keep their shape. Blocking is an advanced skill and needs blocking mats, etc. But we can do our work like this as well. Here I've kept a pillow for ease of use. If you want, you can even sit on a table chair and use that, or you can keep it directly on your lap to sew it, however you are comfortable. Before joining, do check your squares that the heart is facing on the right side. For the right side, as I had told before, one should be able to see these lines on the heart at the top. So here also you can see that the lines are coming on the top. So this is our right side. If we turn it upside down, you can see at this place there's something like an indentation, like a valley. So this is our right side. Please ensure that, because when I was making the other sleeve, I made this mistake a few times. So now we are going to join, and we are going to join in this direction. Now we'll take our beige color, and in this first stitch of the half double crochet on the side is where we are going to join the yarn. Here I've made a knot by making a chain. We are going to make 2 chains. So pay attention that in this square we are always going to join in this line that is going alternate here. And in this square we are going to be joining in these lines, as we are going to make a zigzag. So always in this square, in these lines which are kind of raised, that is where we will join, and in this square, these lines which are kind of depressed, that is where we are going to join. So we're making 2 chains as we are joining immediately in the beginning. We join it with a slip stitch. Now we'll make 3 chains. From now onwards, we will be joining by making 3 chains. So leaving this stitch, in the next stitch, which is the next half double crochet, that is where we are going to join with a slip stitch. See, this is how it will look. Now we're going to do a chain 3, and in this ridged line, the raised one, this is where we're going to do a slip stitch. See, it will look like this, and we are going to continue all the way like this. Every time we will take 3 chains and join it with a slip stitch. When we do a slip stitch on this side, if we pull on this thread, then the slip stitch would become tight. Otherwise it looks pretty loose. So here you can see both the squares have been joined, and we have to pay attention that every time we are taking 3 stitches and we are joining in the alternate rows. So here in the end we ended on the yellow patch, and the blue side is open like this. So now we are going to bring the next 2 squares which are below them. So in our sleeve, the next 2 squares were white and orange. Now we are going to do chain 3 and join in the white square. In this case, we are going to slip stitch in the extreme edge corner, the top of the stitch, that is where we are going to do a slip stitch. Now chain 2, and in this first stitch on the side, that is where we are going to join. Now chain 3 and join here with a slip stitch. Now keep making chain 3 and a slip stitch and keep joining. So this is exactly how we had done earlier in the above squares. We are going to do the same way, join in the raised ridges on this side, and on this side we are going to join in the depressed lines, and like this you can keep attaching them one by one. And when you come to its end, you will do exactly the same like we did here for these first 2. Here this gap will remain like this because we also have to join it. If you will notice here, this looks a bit loose. If yours is also coming out like this, then this stitch also can be made by chain 2 instead of chain 3, and then again you can continue with chain 3 for the further joining. So right now I'm going to let it be like this only. So here you can see I've joined these two, but originally I had not paid attention and the orange square was upside down, so I had to open it and redo it. So we join these two first and then we join these next two, and now below them we have to join the green and the red squares. Let's check their right side, otherwise we'll be stuck again. This is the right side. So after making chain 3, we are going to attach here on the top of the corner, and this is on the top side and not on the side of the square. Mostly we are going to make a join on the sides, the side of the half double crochet stitch, but here it is at the top of the half double crochet stitch. Now we'll make a chain 2, and in the green square we will join on the side of the half double crochet stitch. So we attached it, chain 3 and a slip stitch, and like this we'll keep joining just the way we have done the previous squares. So now we have finished joining the last two squares as well, and this is how it looks. At this stage I would like to tell you that in case you plan to take a break and you intend to come back to it later on, then please pay attention that you have to keep it in a very delicate fashion, and when you pick it up again, do check that nothing has been messed around, because if any one of them gets twisted like this, you would feel that this is all right and everything is on the right side facing. But if you look at your hearts, then you will come to know that these hearts are upside down, and then you will have to pay attention of how it has twisted, in which direction you should untwist it, and accordingly you'll have to turn it around. So it might also happen that two of these squares might move together. So now I'm going to take a break, and if nobody in my family touches it, then I'm going to get it in the right condition, and if somebody touches it, I don't know what's going to happen. So here we join these vertically. With the same method we have to join these 3 squares as well in a vertical fashion. Here I have joined both of these in the vertical direction. So now I'm going to tell you how we are going to join them widthwise. So this is our sleeve, and we have to join these 2 squares. Take the beige thread and join in the corner stitch, which is just at the corner of this yellow square. Make 1 loop to make a knot, and then make chain 2. And in orange we are going to join in the second stitch. If you will keep your thread in this direction, then we'll be able to make the slip stitch. In this direction it won't work. You won't be able to make a slip stitch. So the yarn should be always on this side. Now skip 2 stitches and do a slip stitch. Make sure that you take it through both the loops from this stitch. Otherwise our join would be very weak. Chain 3, leave 2 stitches and then do a slip stitch. So we have to continue like this. Skip 2 stitches and join. skip 2 stitches and join, and continue like this till the end of this squares. Now you will notice that in orange we are joining in the last stitch. So let's revise. The right side square we join in the very first stitch. Then we make 2 chains and we join it to the second stitch of the orange square, which is the left side square. Then we'll make 3 chains and we'll slip stitch after skipping 2 stitches on the yellow side. Chain 3, slip stitch after leaving 2 stitches. And this is what will continue. Skip 2 stitches, slip stitch, skip 2 stitches, slip stitch. And here in the middle, every time we are going to make chain 3. When you come to the end, then you have to pay attention that the square on the right, the last stitch will be on the second last stitch, and here it will end in the last stitch. And if that is not the case, that means you have messed up somewhere in between here. So you can go and then recheck. So the right hand square starts from the first stitch but ends in the second last stitch, and the left square starts from the second stitch but ends in the last stitch. At this stage we are going to join it to the blue square. We'll make 3 chains, and in the blue square, just like we did for the yellow, the very first stitch of the blue square, that is where we are going to join with a slip stitch. We'll make 2 chains, and here we are going to join in the second stitch. So in the left square we join in the second stitch. So like before, make 3 chains and join with a slip stitch in every third stitch. And keep making like this. Now you can see I have joined these second squares as well. So the second column is joined, and now we are going to join the squares of the third column. This first one I am always making 2 chains. If it looks fine with 3 chains for you, then you can make 3 chains as well. And now please continue like this till the end. So we just joined this line. Now we just have to join this line as well. Just the way we had joined this side, join this side as well in the same fashion. And then you'll have a ready sleeve. If you'll pay attention that when we make this line afterwards, then what we get is like something like a cross hair, and this gives a nice neat effect. So now you can also use the same method to join the squares of the body as well. After joining the sleeve, the width of the sleeve is coming around 13.5 inches. For joining the back and front, I would advise to keep these spaces like this and start first by joining vertically all the way from here till the end. For the back, stop till the center. This portion is open. We are going to put buttons eventually, so we are going to do nothing here. And here also all the way, bring a vertical join all the way till the end. And here join it horizontally, join this one as well, and join these as well. Next stop till here and then join these two as well. They join, join, join. This way we'll get a neatness in our finishing. Then we will join the sleeves on the sides. So here I have joined some portion of the jacket. This sleeve I had joined earlier while I was doing testing. So this side of the jacket, like I had told before, we should join it vertically in the vertical fashion lengthwise. So I started here from the bottom and kept on joining all the way till the back, till the end. So this is our center. We didn't join this. Next we join these all the way up, back and till the end, and these pieces from the back neck all the way join them till the end. And then I was joining these lines, and when I was joining them on either side, so I realized that this line can actually be made all the way from the front to the back and then come back again to the front. So here I stopped because my plan now is to go join from here, take an entire round from the back and come back and join in the front again. For this portion what I did was I joined the back panel and the front panel. Here you can see the threads where they are joining. So I wanted to test how to attach one sleeve. This sleeve was joined exactly in the same way like the other sleeve and how I had shown you. So what I did, I was joining these two sides coming all the way till the armpit. So these were the two squares, and when I came to the third square the sleeve had to be attached. And so for joining I continued it by joining these two squares and joining here and then here in the upper shoulder and going back down, and this is how the sleeve got completed. Before that I had joined this portion as well as this side. So from here to this side and then start from here to this side and here on the shoulder and this portion as well. This point is a bit typical point because here what we are doing, we are attaching one square with another square, and how we have been joining, it's normal like that. From here you take alternate lines and here you are leaving two stitches and then joining. But this was a bit typical as this is one hard square joining to two smaller rectangles. If you remember, we had made these special rectangles where in this side every alternate row had 3 single crochets in the beginning of the row. So the result was that from this side it is a bit narrow. This side it has got the normal width because they are all half double crochet stitches. So this is how we have joined to the orange one. This side was a bit narrow so that we can join it with half of a square. So similarly we had these orange patches as well, one side blue and one side orange. Make sure that this smaller side has to be on the sleeve side, and this is how I had kept it on this side as well. I'll show you how to attach the second sleeve, but first I'll start joining from this portion and I'll join it all the way in the back and come till the front. I am hoping then I'll get a very neat join. Look, when we join it in the horizontal fashion, we end up doing this crisscross. So this join looks like an X. Now I'll show you how we'll join the sleeve. So this was our front panel and this is the back one. And this, if you see, is like an armhole. So for doing this, I started joining the front panel and the back panel from here and kept joining till I joined these two squares, and up here we have reached this area where we are going to join our sleeve. First you must check that your sleeve is on the right side, and I know that the navy blue patch has to come at the shoulder, so this is the right side. So what I'm going to do is start joining this red and yellow square. So while joining these two squares, we will switch to the red square in the end and then continue joining the red and yellow squares. So I have taken 3 chains at the end of this and I joined it here. and this yellow, which is part of the sleeve. The armhole is down here. So we take the sleeve and with a similar joining method we join them. Just pay attention that here this heart is in this direction and this one is in this direction, because this one is the back piece and this is the sleeve on the side. Now, since we ended up joining the first stitch in the intended row, we have to continue joining in every intended line. And on this side, we are going to skip 2 stitches and join like we normally do. So on the right side, we attach with the line which is indented. And on the left side, we skip 2 stitches and join. It would be exactly the same for the other sleeve. It's just that its direction would change. So here we have joined these 2 squares and we have come to this portion, to the shoulder region, the shoulder portion. So in the shoulder area, we have to join both of these 2 to the navy blue square. And when we had made these rectangles, we had made them in such a way that for one side they are narrower. So this side it is more wide and this is lesser wide side. And when we had made the layout, we had paid attention to keep the lesser wide side of the rectangle towards the outside, towards the sleeve side. Fold this square in a half like this, this navy square. So what we have to do is this side has to be attached to this half of the navy square, and the orange one would be attached to the back half portion. So we have to attach these 2. We'll have to make slight adjustments when we attach them to make it comfortable for us. So we just finished joining the red and yellow. Now we'll make 3 chains. Join in the corner top stitch of the blue. Chain 2 and attach it on the corner stitch of the square. So now chain 3, and in this rectangle we are going to join in the lines which are raised. So we join here, chain 2, and here we are going to leave 1 stitch and join it in the next stitch. Chain 3 and attach here. Chain 3 and then 1, 2, we'll skip 2 stitches and then attach it. Here we are leaving 2 stitches because this is our back side and we would need extra space here, and at the same time we have a few extra stitches and balancing them would be an issue. So to balance them, we'll have to make some adjustments in some places. Sometimes we'll take 3 chains, sometimes we'll take 2 chains. You'll have to figure it out how it is going according to your hand. This portion is all based upon our estimates. Next, leave 1 stitch and join. Chain 3 and join. Then again chain 3 and leave 1 stitch and join. Chain 3, and here we are attaching in the last line. chain 3, skip 1 and join. Chain 3 and attach it on the corner stitch. Here also we are going to continue attaching in alternate rows. Here it seemed a bit loose, so I just attached it with 2 chains. Let's join to the last stitch. Chain 2 and join in the last stitch. So here I want to show you that this is the blue square from the sleeve and these are the shoulders, and we have joined both of these rectangles to this blue square. And for this we had to make minor adjustments as we went along. Sometimes we took 3 chains, sometimes 2 chains. We have to make our estimates ourselves how it seems at that point of time. On this side, mostly we have skipped 1 stitch. At one of these points you would have to leave 2 stitches because we have extra stitches here to balance it off. Like I skipped 2 here and skipped 2 here as well. So twice you would have to randomly skip, and you'll have to do similar on the other side as well. So here we joined the shoulders, and now we have to join the green square with the blue square of the front portion. Exactly the same how we joined the yellow with the red square in the beginning of the sleeve. Now if you see, I have finished joining this and our arm is complete, though I haven't joined the arm from this side lower portion. So now I have this option to start joining here. Either way, I could have joined it earlier, but from here I can start joining the sleeve directly. So if we join it directly, it might seem a little bit loose. So I'm ending it on the blue side so that we get a bit of neatness. So now I'll do chain 3 and so I joined it to the red square first and then took it to the yellow square so that we get some strength in the armpit region here. Also, this hole was seeming very huge otherwise. So the armpit area is looking like this. Let's check the other side. The other side looks like this, where all these yarns are loose ends. I'll have to do something neat here for this armpit as well. Probably I'll join this from here till the yellow. And we have to leave our armpit region a bit loose, otherwise it might get tight from there. So now I'm going to finish this. If you want, you can use this method or you can use the other method where you join the sleeves with all the vertical lines and then you join like I have done for the other side. So I had stitched this arm beforehand and all the 3 vertical lines were stitched and joined, and then I directly joined it to the armhole. Now that the jacket attaching phase has finished, now we have to come to the finishing touches. The first finishing is that we have to see where all we have joined. Like we have joined here. First we attached in this direction, and then we had gone around the sleeve in this direction and ended it here. So this portion could not be attached, and we have a big hole here. So let's take such loose yarns. So I had cut a long yarn tail here. Some places I remembered and some places I did not pay attention. So I'm going to open this knot that I had put in the end. And then we get this last loop. Now we'll chain 3 and I'm going to attach in the green, so I'm going to make it chain 2. If you are unable to open the knot, then you can make a chain directly. So we'll join in the corner stitch. Pay attention that we always take 2 loops, otherwise it will be very loose. So I've attached here. Now I'm going to do chain 3 and attach on the orange portion, because it looks very weird of a hole right now. 3 seems a bit less, so let's take 4. And we attach in the corner stitch of this orange part. So now it looks a bit better and neater than before. Similarly, for this portion, we can attach this from this to this side, and then it will look a bit nicer. Now I'll show you, in case you are not able to open the knot, then what you can do. So underneath this stitch of our last stitch, insert your hook in that, and it forms our loop, and using this make chain 3 and join it in the opposite end. So if you see, this is now looking neater. So after you finish attaching all these holes, then you have to take needle and sew all these ends in. So just like we had made all our squares neat, we have to weave it here as well. Now since our square is in a different color, for weaving our only option is to weave in this color itself. We don't have any other option. So I'm going to weave it in the upward direction. We'll have to weave it in the chain itself. At this stage, if you observe, these stitches are a bit raised. So we're going to hide in the first 5 stitches and we'll cut the extra yarn. If you will observe, we can see a little bit of beige color through the orange. If you don't like this option, that in this area itself, you can go up and then start coming down after a few stitches. And then you can cut the yarn and then be neatly weaved in. Let me show you. Here we have another thread. So though we have put a knot at this end, we cannot cut it because otherwise this knot would open. So we weaved it in this direction. And now we are going to turn back and come back in the reverse direction from where we had started. And now when you cut it, the chances of it coming undone is very less. So like this, wherever you have joins or you have hanging yarns, please finish all of them. On all the starting points as well, With the same method, take 2 chains and join it to the opposite end. This would help us in making our borders. Put the yarns in needle and weave them all in. I have finished one sleeve and I'm making the other one. I just want to show you how I made it. I could not record it the first time, so I'm trying now. So here we made the first round all around the sleeve in half double crochet, and wherever we had these attachments, these attachment points, here I made 2 half double crochets. So I just finished the row, and what I'm going to do is join in the first stitch where I had started with a slip stitch at the top of the first stitch. So now our row is complete. Now in the same stitch we'll make 1 single crochet, and now we have to make this edging. This is called scalloped edging. So for this, what we are going to do, like I have done this single crochet, I'm going to leave 1 stitch, and in the next stitch we will make double crochets, 5 of them. 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now skip 1 stitch, and in the next stitch make a single crochet and attach. So here we have got 1 scallop. Similarly we have to go on making. Let's revise. So this is our single crochet. We'll skip the next stitch, and in the next stitch we are going to make 5 double crochets. So now we have 5. We're going to leave 1 stitch, and in the next stitch we'll join with a single crochet, and like this the edging will get formed. Now make it all around, and when you come here we'll attach it. So I have come around. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. We actually just need 4. When I had made in this sleeve, I ended up with exact stitches somehow, and here we have 1 extra stitch. So this stitch is such that either we ensure by counting that we are getting the right multiple of stitches, or we can adjust it with a little bit of plus and minus. So how I am going to adjust here is, I am going to skip 2 stitches instead of 1, and then make 5 double crochets. So here I skipped 2 stitches, and I'm going to be making 5 double crochets. And here in this stitch, because this was our starting stitch, we are going to do a slip stitch and join it to end this row. So if you see, even though I had left 2 stitches here, it's not so obvious. So like this, sometimes we would have to adjust our edging, or we'll have to keep an exact stitch count. So now what we are going to do is, from this point till this end, we are going to make a row of single crochet, which will be our base row, and on that we are going to make 2 rows of double crochet, and we are going to repeat this process on both these edges, this side as well as that side. So we'll start from this side. This first stitch, in its loop, that is where we are going to insert our hook, and this is where we'll start our beginning stitch. So I've locked it with a slip stitch, and now we are going to make 1 single crochet, and in this next stitch we are going to make 1 single crochet, and in this horizontal portion we are going to make 2 single crochets. Now we have reached the square. Now in this first stitch on the side we are going to make 2 single crochets, and in the next one we are going to make 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Here I'm taking my yarn at the back along and I'm weaving it in, so I would not have to sew it separately. You can choose to do whichever way is comfortable to you. A single crochet in the next stitch. So what we are doing is that in this first indented row we are making 2 single crochets, and in the second raised row we are making 1 single crochet, and we are alternating. So we are making 2 1 2 1 2 1 single crochet stitches, and that's how we are continuing. And this is how we'll make our base stitches till the end. And when we reach this portion we are going to make 2 single crochets. So please finish till the end. So here you can see I have made the base row of single crochets. Now what I'm going to do is turn the work around, chain 1 and make half double crochets throughout till the end, as we are making a border around here. So continue making half double crochet from here till the end, and then turn around, chain 1 and make 1 more row of half double crochets. So the base line was of single crochet, 1 half double crochet line, and returning back with another half double crochet line. So here I am making the right side of the jacket, the front right panel, and here I made the first row with all single crochets. And in the second row, while we are making half double crochet and going from the top to the bottom, so this is the point where we have to think where we want to put our buttons, and we make appropriate buttonholes. To make a buttonhole, we'll chain 1, skip the next stitch, and in the next stitch make 1 half double crochet, and then continue making your half double crochets for this row. And this gap here is our buttonhole. Now you have to decide where you want to put your buttons and how many buttons you want to put. Accordingly you will have to make your gaps. All you have to do is chain 1 and skip 1 stitch. So if you see here, I have made this row and I have left a place for the buttonholes at many places. And I am making the second row of half double crochet and returning back on the next row. So I just want to show you how we are going to handle the buttonhole area. In this last stitch we make a half double crochet. So in this stitch, which is our chain stitch, you will find a gap. You can insert your hook and make a half double crochet. The top of this stitch is here, and here is where we make our half double crochet. And like this, your buttonhole area is covered with half double crochets. Now just finish it till the end. So I finished making this side border for our jacket's front panel, and since we've ended up with the yarn at this edge, I think it's a really great opportunity to continue with this yarn and take it around the neck. So what we are going to do is, after doing a chain 1, we make 2 half double crochets on the side of the first stitch, and in the second stitch 2 half double crochets. Now these orange stitches that we had left, are you able to see these V's? In these we are going to make 1 half double crochet each. This is the last point where we had turned, and in this base also we are going to make 1 stitch. In this row, here on this side of the stitch, we are going to make another half double crochet, Now this raised portion is where we had our first slip stitch of the row when we were reducing the stitches. So this point would be a bit tight. So we made one stitch here, and here we can see our next stitches, the V formation. Here's another stitch that we had left. And here this is the row turning point. At the base of this stitch also we are going to make one stitch. And now in the rose stitch, this is where we are going to make, and this is where we had made the first slip stitch of the next row. As you can see, it's kind of raised. The first stitch here will always be tricky, so we continue making a stitch on the top of these stitches. So here we turned our row. Before turning the base of the last stitch, that is where, that point where we'll make another stitch. Next one is on the side of the row, and the next half double crochet would be on the top of the row, the next row. So at this point we were turning around very quickly, so within one stitch we have reached this point of the base stitch, the side of the row, and the top of the row, which was a slip stitch. Next stitch in the row, base of the row, side stitch of the row, and next row's first slip stitch. Next stitch, and now the last stitch. So this is how we have made the neck portion. Now we are at this point. Here we are going to make 3 half double crochets. And in this white where we had joined, right here in the base we are going to make a half double crochet. And now we are going to make half double crochets throughout the back. At this point we are going to make 2 half double crochets. Then all of these are double crochets, 3 double crochets here. And in a similar fashion we are going to make half double crochets in this side and come all the way to this end, just like how we had made at this side for the orange portion. Similarly make it on the other side towards the white portion. So here, while making half double crochets, we have reached all the way till the end of the neck. So in this second last stitch I made 2 half double crochets, and in the last stitch as well they are going to be 2 half double crochets. Now we are going to make a chain 1 and turn. So I am making these half double crochets in the next row, and in every 5th stitch I am reducing 1. Since it's the neck portion and the neck portion keeps reducing, so we have to frequently reduce a stitch. So I had reduced here last, and I had made 4 stitches, and I'm at the 5th stitch, and I'm going to show you how to reduce. So like normal, we yarn over, insert the hook and pull out a loop, but we won't complete our stitch. We'll insert the hook in the next stitch, wrap around and pull the loop. Now we have 4 loops on the hook. Wrap around and pull it through all the 4 loops. So here we have managed to decrease with a half double crochet, making 2 stitches into 1 stitch. And like this, keep reducing in every 5th stitch around the neck. So now if you see, the neck is a bit better defined, otherwise it will keep getting very loose. As we extend our work around the neck, we have to reduce the stitches to get a neater look. Otherwise we get a very loose neck. So please complete all around the neck. So I have finished this neck portion till the end, and now I'm going to start the scalloped edging. Chain 1, turn, and in this first stitch I'm making a single crochet. And now we'll start our scalloped edging. After skipping 1 stitch, 5 double crochets in the next stitch. So 5 are done. I'm going to skip 1 stitch and single crochet in the next stitch. Now like this, you can continue all around the neck. When you reach the last stitches of the neck, please check that you don't have any extra stitches here. So like this ended here. We skip 1 and we'll start our scallop here. It will end at this point. Here the scallop will start, here it would end, and here the scallop will start and here it would end. And here we have reached the edge portion. We should have ended at this point. So we have ended up with 1, 2, 3 extra stitches. Now at some place we'll have to adjust our 3 stitches in this region, where instead of skipping 1, we are going to skip 2 stitches. If you see this one, it looks quite close together. So 1 I can adjust here. One stitch if we adjust here, then our scallops would be adjusted. Let me show you. Like this one looked quite close together. So here instead of skipping 1, we are going to skip 2 and then make our scallop stitch. So like this, on the second last scallop also you can skip 2 stitches either on the left side or on the right side, and do it in the last scallop as well. So like this, if we skip 1 extra stitch, then the issue of these 3 extra stitches would be resolved. So here you can see, after I have finished it, you can't even make out that I have skipped an extra stitch here. So for my calculation, I ended up with 3 extra stitches. It could be a different scenario for you. So it might be possible that in these places in the neck where we have picked up stitches, 1 odd might be left by you, and there could be error in reductions as well. So maybe we would not end up with a similar count. So accordingly, you should also adjust. It might be possible that you have to adjust 2 stitches, maybe somebody needs to adjust 1, and maybe someone would need to do nothing. So here I'm going to be adjusting on the left side, so I'm going to be skipping 2 stitches. It was curving here, so this adjustment looks very nice. And here I'm going to be adjusting on the right side of the scallop. So end in the last stitch with a single crochet. So here, even though I have adjusted 3 stitches in the neck, but you can't make out. So by this method we can make a neat scalloped edge as well, and we don't have to worry too much about the number of stitches that we have, and worry for an exact count and match them. So here we have to cut our yarn, and later on we can sew it in, and this is how our neck is complete. With the same method, we are also going to make at the base of our jacket. That is using the same method to make a scalloped edging, just like we had used in the neck region. If you want, you can also make it the way we had done it in the sleeve. Like the first row here was made with half double crochet straight away, or you can also make it like we've done it in the neck. In the neck, I had used an extra row to give it an extra height. So whatever you prefer, that is how you can use it at the bottom of the jacket. I am left with very little yarn, so I have doubts that I'll be able to make this border. If you decide to make a single line of half double crochet, then start this from the wrong side. So this is the front side of the jacket. Please make it from the wrong side of the jacket, so that when you come at the end, and you change your side, then the scalloped edging would be on the right side of the jacket, which is like the outside of the jacket. If you intend to make 2 rows of half double crochet, then you start from the outside so that you can go to that side and then come back this side, and then you'll be on the right side to start your scallop edging. So your edge should be on your jacket's left panels, the front left panel at the base. That is where you start from the front. So it would look neat and you'll get an edge which is similar to this. Otherwise you would get the back side which is curling towards the other way. And if you see this one, this looks pretty. This is just a little trick, will get a nice finishing of your jacket. So I've reached here and I was about to start my scalloped edging, and I am just left with this much yarn, which is very less, and there is no way I'm going to be able to take it all the way till the end. So I'm going to use it as much as possible, then I'll have to order more wool, and till then I'm going to finish editing this video. Once we finish our squares, we have to weave in all these yarns that are hanging. I'm going to demonstrate how to do it. So you're going to take a needle. You can take needle that we use for knitting our sweaters. You can also take the needle of a cross stitch kit as they are blunt. And now we are going to sew in our yarn. So if we cut this yarn, then our heart might end up opening as well. So what we are going to do is we are going to weave it a little. So what we generally do is keep a little length of the yarn and then we weave it on the back side. This is our front side and we will weave it on the back side. So my target is to weave it in this line. So here I'm slightly lifting all these stitches and taking my needle through. So if you can see, the needle cannot be seen on the other side. I'm just taking it very lightly under the stitches which are on this side. So this is done. Similarly, you can do it for this yarn as well. I brought this yarn till this point because here there's very less space to weave it in. So I brought it vertically till this point, and in this direction I'm going to weave it. So similarly we can weave this thread on this side and this one on this side. Just pay attention to weave it on the back side and not on the front side.